Welcome to another week of Specular Board Games perSPECtive, where we talk to interesting people about interesting board games. I'm your host, Ryan Lierus, and as always, I got my co-host, Keegan Cole, and back again is Max Simmons, our other co-host. And this week, our special guest is a returning guest, Meg Oak.
You can't get rid of me.
We
tried. She forced us to have her on.
She's been on this Google Meet since the last one. She's kept this Google Meet on.
She
for
literally
4
stayed in
weeks.
it, and she said if we wanted to keep doing it, we had to do it again with her. So here we are again. So this week, our topic will be spooky board games, just spooky stories in board gaming. And another fun little segment that we've done before that I'm bringing back. So, Meg, why did you want to do this theme?
Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much for indulging me for doing this. I don't know what it was, but hanging out with you guys, I got so excited that I decided to commandeer the podcast and say, like, let's listen to a spooky thing instead. I've loved ghosts forever, and like I kind of cryptids, aliens, the unknown, Nessie, any of that. I love it. I'm here for it. I believe it. Mermaids are interdimensional beings.
Of course. I mean, we all know that. It goes without saying.
So yeah, that was what inspired me.
Solid.
Okay.
Love it.
Yeah, of course. Well, we put out the APB.
That sounds very cop-ish.
What?
Isn't that what the cops do? APB? All Points Bulletin, is that what that is?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure. Also known as an Ask Pam Beasley. For some spooky board game stories. I know Meg got herself a few to share. But let's chat actually first about some games that can kind of fall under spooky, scary, creepy, I guess. Yeah. Meg, has there been one that you played recently?
So recently I've been playing a lot of Mansions of Madness, so that definitely falls into that. But also to prep for this, I'm an Arkham Horror evangelist at this point that I just keep pushing it. But the scariest thing that I've ever played in a game, or I guess to me, that was so thrilling. There's one villain in Arkham Horror, and I'm not going to say his name. It starts with a T. I guess I should because it's a podcast. Gatanthua? That wasn't that bad. So with him, there's like a ability where there's 8 different tiles and they're all face down, and you flip them as certain things trigger, and if you flip his face, that's when bad things happen, and they are so scary that, like, these are the tiles and then this is his face, and you don't even want to touch the tiles. That I can just remember being so scared and so excited and thinking you were gonna die and not wanting to, and having to pick them and having to touch one of them. It's just really, really fun. That's the most time I've ever, like, actually had my blood pumping from a board game.
Dang, okay. Oh,
Besides, like, wanting to beat someone, because then I'll sometimes get really into it.
Interesting. I'm trying to think of my, like, I guess most scared or, like, how do I describe it? Like, yeah, kind of blood pumping. Yeah, like, feeling is either playing, we played it with Bram, goddamn, what is it called? I remembered it before.
The one based off the video game?
Yeah. The video, or the real
This
life.
War of Mine?
Yes, This War of Mine, thank you.
Yeah.
Because it's just like you're in this abandoned, destroyed building, and you're trying to survive.
It's kind of like
trying
true
to,
horror.
Yeah, where you're just like, oh god, what's coming? Like, oh god, there's gonna be some bandits coming and trying to kill our people, and you're just like, oh god, how am I supposed to survive? And you don't. You don't. You just prolong it as long as you possibly can. And it's so like, oh god, no. You're just like, let's go now explore. We need to flip this card. Please, for the love of God, be something we can survive on. Nope, it's something bad.
Yeah,
Now, is a game like that satisfying when you finish it?
Well, we didn't even finish it because you don't even really finish it because it's just live as long as you can. You can't. Apparently, you don't survive.
I think
or
there's
it's
like maybe a way
hard
to win, but it's almost impossible.
Yeah. So it's just like an experience of trying to live as long as you possibly can, as well as getting into the story and not just trying to game the game and just like. We always bring up the one example that we came across was like a kid in this warehouse that was sleeping and his bag was there and it's like, do you take it or do you just leave it? And it's just like, oh God, we need the stuff. We could just game it, but also I don't want to take this from a kid.
Right. I thought it was satisfying, but I don't know that I want to play it again. Like, I think I would play it again because, yeah, but like it's rough and it is tense from the outset. Mine would probably be either that or I get pretty excited when playing Cryptid about like, you know, like, oh, did I give too many clues away? I think I know where the space is. But then also, which I know you guys didn't like, but Nemesis, I really liked sneaking around the spaceship and rolling the sound dice to see if the aliens were going to pop up and destroy you, and running through vents as the mechanic and stuff like that. I really liked. That was one I really wish everybody else loved as much as I did.
What is Cryptid like?
Oh, have you not played Cryptid?
No, but I'm like, I heard the word.
Yeah. I mean, it's not spooky in the sense that, like, you're trying to hunt a cryptid. It's very nondescript. It doesn't say which one it is. It's just like you're trying to find this guy on, like, you set up these modular boards and then everyone has a single clue. And based on all the clues provided, there will be one single spot that it can be. And you're trying to give away as little information about your clue and try to deduct everyone else's clue to be the first one to find the cryptid.
But you can't lie in this game. So like I could ask Keegan, hey, could it be here? And he has to say yes or no, and you mark that spot. But so there's no lying, but you kind of want to ask questions and do things that are going to deceive each other. And it's a pretty interesting, quick little. It's a pretty cheap game, and it's a lot of like fun. I think it plays up to like 5 or 6 players, maybe 5 players. And it's totally worth checking out.
And there's so many different combinations. Like you'll never play the same game of where the same location, because the boards all will shift around. The abandoned shacks and the standing stones will always move around. And then everyone has always different clues, so it's just like the amount of cards and plays that you can get in it is absolutely worth the money for it.
For sure.
This is just a tangent, but saying where you can't lie in it. I played The Resistance one time with someone that was a new player, and if you guys have played The Resistance, if you know the rules, if you're on the good side, you can't lie. And they failed missions. And then the whole team had to like stop and figure out what was going on, because like whatever happened didn't make sense, because the person who was playing had no clue what was going on, and he was just failing missions, being like, "But I thought it would make more sense," and I was just like, "You didn't understand how to play."
That can happen in Cryptid because there's like the easy way to play, and then there's the more advanced, which isn't that advanced, but sometimes with the word play in the game, it's like. Your clue will be like, it can't be on swamps or this. So then someone will ask you. It's like sometimes just the wording, you get confused yourself. So someone will be like, oh, can it be there? And you're like, oh, no, it can't be there. But it totally could be there. And you kind of mess the game up a little bit.
There's so many times playing it that like
that'll happen.
Multiple people realize that we'll go through and everyone's like, I don't understand these clues. I don't, like your stuff isn't making sense here. Like I'm going through all the clues and they'll go like, oh. That one's not right. And you're like, oh, okay. Now some of your clues are making sense.
But sometimes I feel that way.
I'll get clues and people just don't get it. And I'm like...
Well, I'll feel that way sometimes. I'm like, there is no way. Like, something has to be wrong here. And then someone else will guess the place where the cryptid is and get it right. And then I'm like, what was your... And I just find out I was wrong.
Keegan,
Yes.
segue back. What's your spooky game that you've recently played?
I think the most recent spooky game I played was Mysterium Park. I'm pretty sure, because everything else I've played has been either a Feld game, which is nothing in there spooky, or Villagers, which I don't think there's much spookiness in making cheese. But I was thinking about games that I have played that are spooky, and besides like a bunch of Betrayal when I was first getting into the hobby. A friend of mine took us to a game store back in Kansas, and the owner there loved playing the game The Last Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Which is another one of those hidden movement games where one person basically plays Jason from Friday the 13th and everyone else is a camp counselor, and you're trying to run around between cabins to get keys to unlock things and to escape, where Jason is the killer and he's the one with the hidden movement on the board, so he can see where everyone else is going, but you don't know where he is. And he has certain spots that are like, he has bigger circles on the board to travel on, whereas the counselors have smaller circles to travel on. So he technically, all the paths for him are shorter. So it's a fun, weird trying to guess where he is game, but it was meh. If you're going to play like a deduction movement game, just play Fury of Dracula or
Mr. Jack.
Whitechapel.
Oh, yeah.
Whitechapel.
Letters to Whitechapel.
Yeah, Letters to Whitechapel. Those are the two that I always think of when it comes to secret movement games that are great, which I think they also both kind of fit in the spookiness. Like, one's Dracula, so hell yeah, that's spooky.
Yes.
And then Jack the Ripper is kind of spooky as it is because we never knew who he was.
Yeah.
So
I would assume, yeah.
Also,
everything around him would point to
they
spooky.
could reskin that easily as a Zodiac killer game, which
Oh, yeah.
some people might not be okay with, but
Yeah, maybe it's too soon.
Too soon.
Maybe.
Well, some people even object to the Jack the Ripper, the Whitechapel game, just because you're walking around killing prostitutes. And
yeah.
although I don't think they call them prostitutes in the game,
But I mean, yeah, if you're mad at that, you have to get mad at every war game ever made too, because it's also the same thing. So
Yeah.
Well, there's that H.H. Holmes game that just came out too, which I was intrigued about. But I was like, I don't know that much about it, but I was intriguing. But I was also like, we live in Chicago where that happened,
Yeah.
so
we need it.
there's a balance of how.
Is H.H. Wait,
It's
sorry.
time for our segment.
You just interrupted our guest.
I know. I'm interrupting everyone. That's the point. We're doing another segment of Yahoo Answer, board game Yahoo Answers.
Ooh.
So one of my favorite podcasts, my brother and me does. They go to Yahoo Answers and they try to help give advice to some of the questions. And so I just one day decided to type in board games and see what would come up on Yahoo Answers. And some of them are ridiculous. There's a whole shit ton of chess questions. Is the majority of them on.
I've been playing chess lately online with the computer. It's so sad.
That's not sad. That's fine. Chess is awesome.
I don't know. I should play other things with other people, though. You know, I can play like Ascension or Hearthstone with anyone. I play
true.
chess with the computer.
I guess
So-
because that show came out, chessboards have
Queen's Gambit.
yeah, it's sold a lot more
okay,
since
enough.
then.
Enough. Okay, this is weird. So I did find a couple that had to do with Ouija boards. So maybe we can help out these people on Yahoo Answers. So one of them I found.
I love
Can
this,
I get-
Brian. You're amazing.
Can I get cursed by an Ouija board if I've never played it or even seen one in real life? So
No.
So
Also, why are you saying a Ouija board?
Also,
A Ouija board?
The Ouija board doesn't curse you. The demon does. So it couldn't, no matter what. Bro.
So the question continues. So basically, I was on the phone and said some of my friends were playing with an Ouija board as a joke when they really weren't. I said it maybe a couple months ago and thought nothing of it, but I've been thinking about it lately and I'm really scared the Ouija ghost will haunt me for the rest of my life. I've never had one or even seen one in real life and have never actually played with one neither. Have my friends... Will the demon haunt me? Please, someone help. I've been stressed out about it a while now to need help.
They are correct.
So-
Yes, the demon will haunt you.
So you probably need to find a different Ouija board and
No.
curse the other demon, get the other demon to go after the first demon. That way they don't haunt you.
You know, I have never thought of that.
Boom.
That's not bad.
Or you just have
I
two
think that's
demons
how Black
haunting you.
Mirrors are made.
No, you just get the other one to haunt the other.
I think it's Ouija board.
I said
Yeah,
Ouija,
my-
and he was asking
You were saying Ouija.
Ouija.
Yeah, I'm not taking
Ouija.
advice from someone who can't pronounce the board name.
Luigi.
Yeah, I was thinking, wow, Luigi.
There is one that does call it a Luigi board.
Yeah, we've read that one before.
So yeah, I mean, I think they should go find another one and get that demon to go after the first demon.
I think,
No.
I think it's a
No.
horrible. I don't think.
Wait, but they said they've never seen it?
Yeah, so I'm not sure where their stress is really coming from.
I think they're probably just stressed. It's probably COVID-19 talking. When did they post that?
This was a month ago.
Yeah, I think
They're
they
just
have,
stressed. They're
Yeah.
just stressed.
I think
Well,
they have
more than
bigger
likely-
problems than the Ouija board.
More than likely,
How'd you
it's
say it?
Zozo, because Zozo's the demon most associated with Ouija boards, and Zozo doesn't give a fuck. So
Wait,
the
is it?
best option is you
Ouija?
burn the whole Ouija board and buried it in the backyard.
Wait,
You
there
have
is
to
a
close
question
it out and
about
say
that.
goodbye.
They have to say goodbye, and then you burn it.
Oh, I'll come back to this one later because we did talk about chess. But no, where is it? There's one about. Okay, here's another one. 11 months ago from Anonymous.
Okay.
Is it bad to dispose a Ouija board like this? My
Ouija
housemate.
board! Ouija board!
Ouija,
It's
Ouija.
That's
clearly
not how it's
simple.
written out.
The
Ouija.
O is silent.
It's Ouija. It's Ouija
Hey.
board.
It's Worcester.
What?
It's Worcester sauce, not Worcester.
Okay, well, my housemate had. I'm gonna keep pronouncing it a Ouija board. And I don't
Play
like
a Ouija board.
my Ouija board, and I don't like them. I didn't want one in the house, especially if he's using it. I told my other housemate I told my other housemate this, so he snapped his board, then burnt it. Is it bad
no.
to dispose the board like that, or does it not matter? I really worry about things like this.
You have to say goodbye. You have to say goodbye and close it out.
And
And
close
if
it
you're
out.
gonna
Is
burn
that
it-
a thing?
And if you're gonna burn it too, you gotta put salt on it.
And throw
And
some
like all
salt
over
on
your
it.
salt.
No, it's a thing, because salt's a purity, like a purity thing. So back in the day with like witches and things, salt was actually used as a weapon because
So
of
garlic,
puriness.
and like
So-
put it into in a circle around garlic, and
It's not a vampire, Ryan. You gotta use
okay, come on,
salt.
we're talking.
It couldn't hurt though.
Yeah,
It's got
exactly.
sayings on the board.
But you live in like Spookyville, USA, don't you, Meg?
I do.
So you know all about these.
Yeah, we would double up. So like the garlic's fine, and then you would sage, and then you'd have it also exercised at the end.
You have to exercise at the end?
Like Jesus exorcism.
yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like jumping jacks.
Yes.
I mean-
After you go and get rid of it, you need to then go and do an exercise.
Sweat out the
Sweat.
demons.
Sweat the demons out. That's right.
I guess we should.
That should be like a yoga class, like a hot yoga where it's hot yoga because you're burning the boards,
Oh my
and
gosh,
then you're
this
doing
is the thing I heard.
exercising.
No.
This is in the same vein. Jessica Chobot, you guys may know her. You probably know her. She posted on one of her Instagrams. She has like a beauty Instagram to when you do your makeup and like put your concealer on to draw like a sacred symbol on your face first and then blend it all in. And I was like, that is amazing because it's like a protection symbol on you.
Of course.
Pro tip for the ladies out
For
there.
the ladies out there, when doing your concealer, make sure you're
Like a
safe
sigil.
and protected.
I was trying to learn how to do makeup for a while, but it didn't work out because I didn't get to practice enough because I couldn't do it on my own face.
The hair is hard. I don't know how I would put makeup on over hair.
I didn't. I just practiced on my wife and my friends, but I never got to do it often enough to be good at it, so I gave up.
I did drag for a show, and I really wanted to learn how to do my own drag makeup. I
It's
did not
fun.
have the time.
It's fun probably if you don't like have to do it all the time. Like
Yeah. I had more fun practicing walking around in high heels than I did trying to do makeup, so it's fine.
So I have a question. Who here has used a Ouija board?
A Ouija.
I'm sure Meg has.
I
sure
have
But not
had
officially.
one in my possession, but at the time when I was that age, nothing happened. And also, like, I don't think we opened it correctly and whatever. I've learned a lot since then, and I have not purchased one on purpose.
But
You
you
didn't do the
tried.
special ritual that you need to do when opening.
Right.
Right.
But, like, I regularly sage my house. I'll sage my house on full moons. We sage it on Christmas.
Of course.
If I think something spooky happened, there's been a couple of spooky things that have happened here. But, yeah, so I do, like, ritualistic things, but not Ouija, because it is bad. It is bad.
Oh, I'm not doing it. I've never. I won't do it.
Yeah, I did as a kid, but
Well, David here also asks, my Ouija board has stopped working. How do I get a new ghost? So this is how does somebody get a new ghost for their board?
He's lonely.
This is important.
he's lonely.
You buy a divot box from
A what?
from a divot box, and you should know it's a Jewish thing. It's a box that has a demon in it that only rabbis are supposed to like watch because they have to be constantly blessed or this demon's gonna come out of it. A divot box.
Okay, so they'll have to go and find a rabbi,
Yes.
plan a heist to steal this box,
Yep.
and release
Him,
it
probably.
release it near their Luigi board.
Yeah.
Or you could just go to Walmart and get a new one.
Buy a new.
And then-
I mean, yeah, you could buy a new ghost
like
at Walmart.
There's plenty of
15
demons at
bucks.
Walmart.
Yeah, I think like, I mean, well,
You can hear
like,
them screaming when you're walking around.
and I mean like, you could just wait till the day after Halloween. They're like 50% off. You can buy one then. Yeah.
Hey, I get to do the dad jokes, not you.
Listen, this segment is supposed to be about goofs, okay?
I'm taking it seriously.
Stop taking it so seriously. This is
It's a
goof
serious
segments.
thing.
This is goof
You're
segments.
playing with fire, baby. I wouldn't mess around with.
Listen, our Yahoo Answer segment is the goof section.
I feel good laughing about the Yahoo people, not the Ouija board.
No, that's true. Yeah.
I don't have the question.
I'm trying to help the both of
Some
them.
of the questions are kind of ridiculous. Especially like I saw this one and I was like, huh.
There's no ridiculous questions, just ridiculous people, Ryan.
Okay. Well, how good can dogs become at chess? Guys, how good can they become at chess?
My dad taught his dog how to wink.
Well,
So
the person asked, his dog is rated 900, but she does frequently stop playing to chew on the pieces and lose on timing while chasing a squirrel. So,
I'm very skeptical that their dog has an ELO rating.
I think this is a joke. I'm gonna say this is a joke question.
no, I think they seriously want to know how good dogs can possibly become at chess.
Not
I'm
as
trying
good
to think of a pun so hard. and my brain broke. Like, I
as
can't.
good as parrots. Parrots
I mean-
can be better.
There there is that famous dog that beat the AI years ago. Remember that?
Air Bud.
That's well, it was Chess Bud. It was a cartoon movie. They couldn't quite get the dog to actually
Was there really a movie about a dog playing chess?
goofs, Max.
I don't know.
Goofs.
I thought you were.
Ryan, why are you trying to upset the guest? I was like, where's this movie? I'm gonna look for it. I'm like, cry to it later.
Cry to it later.
He tried so hard.
The dog
There
wins
was
the
just a squirrel
championship.
that he wanted, and he lost his time.
He wins the championship and gets rabies at the end.
Oh
And has to
no!
turn into a ghost dog.
They get summoned by a Ouija
And
board.
get summoned by a Ouija board.
Ouija.
Ouija board. A Ouija board.
Oh,
There is an
but it's
A at the
like
end.
a
There's an A at the end.
chessboard.
What's that? A
It's a
haunted
Ouija
chessboard?
chessboard.
Ooh. A haunted chessboard.
He's in it.
I wouldn't like it.
That would be a good movie. Should we pitch that movie?
No.
A haunted chess board that's
It's too scary.
by a
It's
too scary. That's haunted by a world
Ghost
championship
Gambit.
dog.
The Ghost Gambit instead of the Queen's Gambit.
Okay, we're making it. I know directors and producers personally, so we'll get that. I'll go and pitch that.
Hashtag humble brag.
I was like, do you really, or is this another goof?
Yeah, Max. All of the directors and producers I know that I never named one of them.
For their privacy.
They don't have to
Dude,
be
For their
famous.
for their privacy.
I got yelled at as an extra by a director once.
We're not being extra enough.
Because we're not being extra enough. Sir, in the back? More? We need more.
I
More
would say
fake talking on the phone.
Yes, sir.
being an extra sucks. I was an extra on Empire. It was fucking awful. I hated it.
I had a pretty good time. I was an extra in that Johnny Depp movie that they filmed here, the bank robbing one.
Oh, the John Dillinger one?
Yeah.
Again,
You can see about this much of me for about half a second. This is the
Nice.
giveaway.
what?
My
Big
floppy ears.
Yeah.
So back to ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Meg, did you have some people write some stories?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the end of our segment. Our Yahoo segment. Thank you for indulging me.
I loved that. I think that was fantastic. We should look up those every time. That, and we should look up reviews. I thought you were looking up reviews, and that got me confused. But now I understand.
Nope. I wanted to bring that segment. We did it early on with Carly, and I was like,
Also,
I love that segment.
who goes
amazing.
to Yahoo questions
Right, I was
for
really
answers?
confused.
People still
it took
go
me a
there?
while.
There's a bunch on there.
I have a Yahoo email, and I forget that Yahoo even exists.
Well,
and I forget how to sign into things sometimes because I'm like, oh, it's my Yahoo email.
This was a serious question. Remember, we read it last time. Was my nephew wants to play Dungeons and Dragons? How do I convince them they'll probably die if they try it? Like,
Probably die.
this aunt or uncle is very clearly concerned about their nephew, and they need to go to Yahoo Answers.
They were so
to
concerned
find
they
out
went to Yahoo
how to do it.
Answers.
Yes.
This is when we need Ask Jeeves still.
Is that a still thing?
I don't
We need
think.
Ask Jeeves and we need Cora.
Okay, so let's hear some stories.
So, quickly
spooky
before we
story.
do that,
Yeah.
I want to hear
Yeah.
from you guys, because I said why I want to do this. I want to know what your stances are on, like, if you believe in ghosts before we go. I just want to know how you guys feel about this kind of stuff.
We'll have Ryan go first and bring us down, and then me and Keegan will go.
Yeah. I am an atheist, and no.
I am a robot, logic only. My name is Ryan.
That's right. That is
Also, Ryan, let me throw some shit on you then.
Yes.
If you're going to say you don't believe in ghosts. A, do you believe that whether or not there's an afterlife, do you think that you can get stuck in like a time loop kind of thing, like how they say Gettysburg has like sounds of the battle, where like kind of like wormholes can happen with like you kind of get those kind of ghosts where it's a repeated energy instead? And then my other question is, I recently heard a lot about simulation theory, and that simulation theory, a lot of that can be like errors instead or glitches in that. So do you think that ghostly encounters still can happen?
Simulation theory, as in that our universe is like a simulation.
simulation?
It's essentially our universe is made up of voxels that is basically creating our universe. It is an interesting theory within physics, and I like it. I don't know much about it. I don't know. As far as a glitch,
Are you open to it?
I don't know, because glitch would very particularly refer to computers, right? And to say that our universe, our simulation or whatever our universe is similar to a computer, may be a bit of a stretch. I don't know that we can necessarily say that. the simulation works in the same way that our computers work. So, I mean, honestly, it's all going to come down to evidence. It's scientific evidence, like peer-reviewed, multiple.
Boring.
It's how you find the best way to truth is through various means of reproducing
Anomalies.
Yes.
We just needed a yes or no, Ryan. We didn't.
If you can reproduce an anomaly,
Because
is
it's-
it an anomaly?
That's the
Okay, I
argument,
mean,
though.
anomaly is not the right word.
You know, if you study comets as a scientist, can you recreate comets to make sure you believe in them? No. So you have to wait until they happen to study them. So just to throw that argument out there, that to be able to get to the root of why things are happening that we don't understand, we need enough circumstances that are similar to be able to see a pattern.
Yeah, correct. And right now, just with ghosts and whatnot, it's all circumstantial. It's all anecdotal. There's no like actual scientific method behind it. So anecdotal, you can't really. I'm not gonna put my my belief into. Yeah. So I mean, and I never say I'll never fully rule out it because, well, you can't do that. Stuff changes. We find new things out all the time. So.
Before we let Ryan go, do you believe in aliens?
It's more than believe. They do exist. There's literally no, all evidence and properties of large numbers says they're more likely to exist than not exist. It's more impossible for them not to exist it's more impossible for them not to exist than exist.
There are also theories that aliens, when they see people, if they have like whatever kind of masking or whatever they can do, that's what they think ghosts are. They'll see like a shadow person, and so just throwing it out there that ghosts may not be ghosts.
True.
I believe in ghosts or spirits or demons, and I believe in them. Like, one, because it's more fun. And two, I through like some personal and then people I've known and stuff. Like I had one weird experience in my life that I probably chalk up more to sleep deprivation than anything. But like, I was sleeping and I woke up in the middle of the night. I've once had that like sleep paralysis thing where you wake up and you can't move or talk and it's super terrifying and you feel like you can't breathe and you're just stuck. I had that once. But then one other time I woke up and I was looking in the corner. I sleep up in a loft bed. And I was looking up in the corner of my loft and I fully saw like a terrifying face just looking right at me. And I couldn't move. And I was just looking at it. And finally I kind of like grabbed my wife and blinked and it was gone. That's it. That's all. It scared the shit out of me. But other than that.
Yeah. I mean, experiences like that have happened to me, but I also know the human brain does some ridiculous things, and it's more likely that than something else.
I think the things that you start to not be able to, dispute is like when things move and that kind of stuff, that it's like, what did that?
Keegan, care to let us know your thoughts?
I like the idea of it, but I also don't believe in it. I believe that there's definitely like aliens. I would find it hard to, even by alien I mean just like even like parasites or some small cell thing, like 100% believe in that. But ghosts, no, because I feel like there's always an explanation for something. I think the idea is cool. I think the storytelling that people have, because that's my favorite thing is being a human. My favorite thing of being human is the fact that we're a storytelling species, and that's how we live on as a culture, is by storytelling. So I think all the ghost storytelling stuff I think is really cool, and I like listening to like history about like folklore between cultures and stuff, and hearing similarities between cultures that aren't similar. Like every culture, I told Ryan and Max this once, but every culture that did burials after death, they all have vampire myths. But any culture that did cremation, they don't have a vampire myth.
It's very interesting.
Which is cool. So I think the idea is neat, but I don't believe in it.
So as I said last time, you and Ryan can go, and me and Meg will talk about ghosts.
Per usual, it's split.
All right, well, tell us all about your thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, Keegan, before we go, are you religious at all, though? Do you believe in like that kind of stuff, or?
I used to be religious, and then I stopped believing. Yep. I grew up in a Lutheran church, and I was an altar boy, and I did communion, and I did confirmation and all that stuff. And then at one point, it just hard stopped for me. I couldn't do it anymore. I realized I liked the community and the church more than actually the actual beliefs behind it.
I mean, isn't that a lot of what religion is for people? Okay, we don't. No, we're not going there. This is.
That's a whole other podcast.
That's a whole other podcast.
Real quick, you didn't grow up in any sort of religious.
I went to Jewish school.
But you
Hebrew
didn't.
school.
Your parents weren't really, were they?
Not super, no.
Okay.
But that's for later. Meg, tell us all about how much you believe in ghosts.
And also like quickly to tangent, I went to Catholic school from 2nd grade to senior year of high school. So I very much steered far away from the religious stuff, but I think maybe that's part of where my like so afraid of it comes from, because like we would have, you know, fear of anyone watching you, let alone ghosts, you know?
Yeah.
Eyes are on you. I now as an adult, I feel like it's all energy, that it's not, I don't even know if I necessarily think any ghosts are like someone's conscious spirit. But I think repetitive energy can really stick someone somewhere, or traumatic, or, you know, or even just like certain sounds and things like that people hear. The sound itself could just be stuck there. I like energy.
I think I'm in camp energy just with when it comes to living people, just because it's one of those, like, I've done enough like hosting events and stuff in like theater that you can like walk into a room or walk on stage and you can feel like what's going on, and you can like tell from you do the same performance for a month, and you can go on stage and one night you can feel like something's off tonight, and something goes off and you just knew it from the get-go. Like I think people do give something off, even if it's totally subconscious or, you know, not willing, but there's you can tell the vibes and things.
People talk about that with places too, where really bad stuff has happened.
I say that's purely though subconscious and more an evolutionary thing than it's part, like it comes down to like a anxiety thing, right? Like the human has evolved to like sense these sort of things to protect, to stay alive, and it's sort of just a byproduct of that. And so like it sort of just kind of like has fallen over into like other aspects that don't necessarily relate to survival, but like you still have those instincts or whatever that the brain can go through and start sensing. And to me that makes more sense just because we have the evidence behind that.
It's like everyone has that feeling too, where like you're walking around in the store and you turn around so you know someone's staring at the back of your head. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, let's. This episode is not board game chat. This was just talk spooky.
This was metaphysics.
What?
I was gonna say, if you guys have me on again after this super random episode, you guys can pick whatever you want. You can pick any game. If I don't have it, I'll buy it and play it. I don't care. You do whatever you want.
Yeah,
you let me commandeer this.
Honestly, like when we first started, we just gave ourselves a topic to give our just like, so that we don't just kind of ramble into whatever. It just sort of gives us something to chat about, but it is just like a suggestion or like a very, I don't know the word.
It's our
whatever.
structure.
It's just it's like.
It's the skeleton if we want to get
Yes.
There we go.
So I just go, this is kind of what we'll chat about
The
today.
old bones.
I got a question.
With a lot of ramblings and side chats.
I got a question that can relate to board game and spooky.
Okay.
Yeah.
For Meg. So what do you think either from growing up, or what, like, because you like spooky stuff, what do you think draws you to that, or even like with board games and stuff, like if so, like, I like most themes, but if there's something that has a horror type theme, I'll definitely look into it because I like horror movies and stuff like that. So, like, I guess what draws you to that, do you think?
I think in the same way, I'm into deep lore. I love lore. That even as a kid, I got super into like the Greek gods and the Roman gods and all of that. That I think that's what took me so deep into Arkham, because I wasn't really a horror person before that. Okay. I'd seen some movies and stuff, and like a lot of my horror collection, I was really looking through for this, and it's a lot of Arkham, Mansions of Madness, Cthulhu stuff, and then like Dead of Winter. And then like other ones that are more like scary because of like timing, like something like Sorcerer's City, where you have like a clock where it's like, oh, I gotta hurry up. But honestly, a lot of it is all Arkham, and I think I just keep diving back into that world because I love the lore, and it makes me more afraid of Cthulhu because I know the things he can do and what he's done to me, and I remember it. That like and especially the show coming out last year for HBO was great. That it was everything, especially seeing the I think it was like the Shoggoth monsters in episode 2. The really scary guys that were like big blobby things that could bite you and turn you into them. This is all off memory, so sorry.
Lovecraft Country? We're talking about Lovecraft Country, right?
Yeah, sorry, Lovecraft Country.
Show was great.
I didn't get to see it.
Watch it.
I just love all of it so much that I think it scares me more because I believe it more, and when you read more into it, and then, it's like, I don't play a ton of the Star Wars games, but I would imagine I would be super afraid of Darth Vader if he came out. I haven't played those, so I don't know. But it's things like that where it's, with how big the monsters are, and to relate this back to like magic, it makes me think of the Eldrazi, who are like huge, super scary monsters, and I love that. I love monsters that are the mind-boggling kind, that are bigger than the universe and gonna swallow you. And
so are you ready for Godzilla versus King Kong?
Yes, I'm ready for Godzilla. I don't really care about King Kong. Anything Godzilla, I love. Okay.
So you're more into the monstery, like Lovecraftian type stuff. Maybe not so much like have you read Dracula or Frankenstein or any of that stuff?
So I read Frankenstein. I love Frankenstein. I have a deep love of Frankenstein. There was like a this is a super tangent, but there was like a young adult novel when I was young. And I can't even tell you what it was called, but I got really into Frankenstein. Okay. And like Jekyll and Hyde. I'm really into like more reading and stories and literature, more than like movies and stuff like that. Okay. But yeah, definitely around the creature. That's why I got really deep into Nessie. I believe.
Go ahead, Keegan.
I brought up something before we started the podcast, Meg, about I have a local ghost story, which, since you like deep lore, I think this is rife for board game material. I think this would be really cool if someone could figure out a way to make this into a game. I don't know how. It'd probably be some type of deduction thing, more than likely. But have you heard of Stoll, Kansas?
I don't think so.
Okay, so Stoll, Kansas is a town in Kansas, but it was like 25 minutes outside of where I went to college, but I grew up in Kansas all my life. And it's a very small town. But every year for Halloween, people would flock to Stoll, Kansas to go watch the cemetery, because there were stories that Satan would show up or the devil would show up and walk around the cemetery at night around Halloween. Because there's a huge rumor that Stoll, Kansas, there used to be this old chapel in the middle of the cemetery that was rumored to be one of the portals to hell. And like, there's stories that like Kurt Cobain, when Nirvana was touring, they stopped by Stoll, Kansas, and he threw a glass bottle at the building and it bounced off instead of shattered. There was stories that the Pope wouldn't fly over Kansas because Stoll was in Kansas. And then they tore the chapel down and everyone freaked out. So Stoll, Kansas, still to this day has police that guard the cemetery 24/7, so no one tries to go in there to look for Satan.
That is insane.
That would be interesting. That could be, yeah.
It's cool lore, story stuff about like, I've always thought about, like, when I was growing up, I heard about it too, be like, this would be a cool like horror story, like Max, like a movie or a show where it's like everyone thinks it's bullshit and it's not real. But then if it's not real, why are the police still guarding the cemetery? Maybe the town knows something that everyone outside the town doesn't know. Like, it would be such a cool, like, deep lore thing to look at.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting.
That could be an interesting board game. There could be some
I love
interesting
that.
mechanics.
I love that type of stuff. That type of stuff.
But look it up. There's so much info about it online. Stull, Kansas. Stull.
Might have to do a drive-by next time in Kansas City. See how far it is from Kansas City.
10 minutes west.
Keegan, can you give us 15 more minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For the last 15, for Meg, because I want
anything for Meg.
I want to hear, because we haven't gotten to it yet, but I want to hear the stories that you received about spooky board games that people have done.
So there's one that I know is definitely spooky board game. There's one that's a bit long that I'll pick out the best ones, but it's from a board gamer that has sent us his stories, and they're very scary. And then I have just a couple others.
Okay. Go for it.
So this is from one of my followers, Ivan. His name is Ivan.easy on Instagram, and he has been following me forever. And this is his story. So he said, well, I was playing Game of Thrones Monopoly in my dining room 2 years ago in Bolivia. Suddenly, I looked at my cat, and he was totally blocked as a statue, which I think he was like still a statue. Looking at a point on the white wall of the corridor. There was nothing, absolutely nothing, but he was there. Then when I went near him, he looked too at the wall, nothing. On nighttime, I felt him come over to the bed, like every day, but then when I looked, he wasn't there. I found him in the dining room, hiding under the sofa, afraid, and he wouldn't come out from there until the morning after. So like his cat was staring at something, and then he felt his cat come into bed, and he was like, it's not here, and then found it somewhere else.
Oh, man.
I've heard that so many times that people have felt animals jump into their bed.
I believe you. I had something pull on my sheets once, or it felt like.
I mean, I understand why he feels like he's being haunted, because he was playing Monopoly. See?
And it was Game of Thrones Monopoly, so we should ask which house he was playing as, because that may be.
That's right. He was like, I want to play.
It was just Tyrion looking for more wine. That was all it was.
He was playing the Harrenhalls, because isn't Harrenhal haunted?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. I was trying to think. I was like, Harkonians? No, too much Dune. Harkonnens. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah. Oh, dang.
I'm surprised people. So no one responded to us when we put that out. We're like, tell us your board game. It was like,
yeah, we
silence.
got nothing. Cool.
I can run through a few quick ones, but they're not all board game related, but this one's kind of short as well.
Okay.
This one's from Happy Meeples, and they said, my great-grandpa built a house in the 1940s and died later in the 60s. Anyone that has lived in the house has had stories about weird stuff happening in it, including us grandkids. One story I remember when I lived there was being in the bedroom, and it sounded like someone was frantically running up and down the stairs when I was home alone. I locked myself in the room and called the police, and they came to search the house because I was sure someone was in the house. So many stories living in that house that I can undeniably say that the house has spirits. Even after moving out, I still dream about it. And I can say as a little kid, I used to hear running in my old house, and I knew I was home alone. And I heard like hard running.
Oh yeah, I did too when I was younger. I don't anymore, but when I was in our house in Lake Zurich, I definitely
was
felt
it
like...
an empty house though?
Yeah. It was
So
times
what was
when,
the running?
What's that?
What was it?
I mean, honestly, it's just probably my own anxiety, or like just being a kid and like you're home alone, so you're scared, and your brain then does things to like. I'm not gonna go into because that's my understanding of it. I just, for me, it's all the brain does crazy things, and I've taken a psychology class, so like I've learned some of the crazy things. So like I'm not surprised hearing what the brain can do. So
I've always lived in an apartment complex, in like a studio apartment. So if I've ever stayed at houses alone, I like barricade the door and get a knife or something because I'm so used to sleeping where I can see everything. Like I stayed when I was 17. I went to Denmark and I stayed at this person's house and they left, and I was just staying at their house. They're very nice. They let me stay at their house, and I would check everything because I was so not used to staying in an entire house by myself. It scared me so bad. Like I think they had a bat or they had something, and I would like sleep with it up to the bed.
I still sleep with a full-on nightlight. Like full on. I'll send you guys a picture tonight of how bright my bedroom is at night. It is
Dang, okay.
It's embarrassing.
I used to think when I was a kid, because I was an only child, and I used to think there was a ghost in our basement named Greg, and he dressed like a hippie. And in my head, like now as an adult, like maybe I watched a shit ton of Brady Bunch, and it was just the older brother from the Brady Bunch. But also like I hardcore believed in Greg the ghost. And then I was also just like, maybe it's just an imaginary friend because I was bored because I didn't have any siblings.
Or maybe you did meet a ghost named Greg.
Maybe met Greg. And Greg's a cool guy. And he's
ghost.
doing something else.
Was it old Greg?
Oh God!
If it was old Greg, he would be going with me everywhere. My boy, old Greg, drinking Baileys from the shoe. Love him.
All right. What other ones you got? What other people share
Let
with
me
you?
quickly run through these because there's 3 more in my Instagram that I'll run through them because they're around the same length. Because I don't want some people to not get their started. So this is from PBGB, but it's PBEEGEEBEE. It's very cute. When I was a kid, about 4 or 5, my mom used to clean this little holiday house. One day she was cleaning and didn't notice I was down in the basement where there was a pool table. She said to me, "You know you're not supposed to be down here." To which I responded, "It's okay. The old man said I could lay down here. He said it was fine." The only people at the house at the time was me and my mom.
Of course. Right. Oh,
So
God.
she was 4 or 5 and said that back to her mom.
So wait, either
Oh
way,
God,
it's
that's gotta
creepy.
creep your mom out so much.
It's either an old man ghost or more terrifying, an actual old man creeped into
Living in
your
the
house.
walls.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the living in the walls people? That's a thing.
Yeah, I had at the last job I worked at. One of my coworkers, her like friend, had a guy living in their attic, and it was just one like they just hear
For
things.
real?
Yeah, for real. Like there was somebody literally living in their attic for a long while,
insane.
and it's just like they'd hear things, and like they just like maybe it's just the house, whatever. And then she was home alone apparently, and like she could hear walking in the attic, and so she peeked up into it and saw him, and he looked like a demon or something because he was just like really white, right? Because he doesn't go out, so it's just like really pale, but like really looked really creepy. They showed me a picture of it, and it's terrifying.
I've been terrified of that sort of thing ever since I was a
terrifying.
kid because I saw the people under the stairs when I was a little kid, and they had the kids.
Yes.
I saw that way too young, and I was
too.
like horrified. I wasn't
My
allowed to
mom thought
watch.
it was so funny to show me.
I'm gonna out myself here as a huge creepypasta plebe, but I love creepypastas. I don't like the garbage creepypastas because there's so much shit creepypasta out there, but there's some really solid like ones that get narrated on YouTube that are fun to listen to, and there's so many good ones of like people being in rooms or houses that they didn't know were there. They're great. They're solid.
For real.
Okay.
Okay, so we got 2 more.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is from Miss_French Toast, and she said our house was very cold, or no, our house was very old, and the doors would close on their own a lot. As a kid, I always assumed it was the wind, but as an adult, I went to visit, and when a door closed, my mom yelled a lady's name. When I asked why, she said she knew the ghost who lived at our house, and she was friendly, and she would have to remind her to leave the doors alone. She named her and apparently spent my whole life telling this ghost to leave the doors alone.
Just think about like coming back home to your parents' house, and your mom's just like, "Nancy, knock it off!
Karen!
Karen, knock it off! Stop it!"
That's what? Oh, that's weird.
Okay, to quickly run through, this is Bored to Play. They said, when I was at my parents' house one evening, I was sitting, so they didn't say how old they were. I was sitting in the living room watching a movie. My brother left the room, and I was sitting there alone when the ceiling fan in the living room turned on max speed. Now, I was pretty spooked, so I ran to tell my brother. We went back to the living room, and it was still going full speed. The even spookier part is we never use the ceiling fan ever, and it doesn't have a light, and it's just a fan. The switch for it is behind a china cabinet, and it's not a normal switch, it's a turn knob, and you have to turn it a certain amount until it clicks, and then it will come on, and then you have to keep turning it on until it's max. When we went to shut it off, we couldn't get our hands behind the cabinet to shut it off, so we had to move the cabinet to get back there. Pretty nuts. Haven't experienced it again, but still spooky to the experience. That is weird. That's something
That is
completely moved.
weird, but also the architect in me just wants to go, yeah, it was just an electrical problem.
How would the knob have turned on its own?
You don't need the knob. It could be some kind of electrical problem that
But she said she turned the knob back.
Like, oh, you say the knob itself turned?
She said when we went to shut it, we couldn't get our hands behind the china cabinet to shut it off, so we had to move the cabinet to get back there. So it sounded like they moved it to turn it off. Or else how else would they have gotten it off?
That one's interesting. That's an interesting
stuff.
I'm so situationally unaware. I'm like the type of person at a grocery store that just bumps into people because I'm not paying attention to my store. I swear a ghost could walk right past me. I wouldn't know. If a fan turned on, I'd be like, when did I turn that on? Like,
right? That would be me.
I feel like I've seen probably 50 ghosts and just didn't even know.
I mean, we're just so used to all the weird shit that happens on the Chicago L. It's like, whatever.
I mean, I live in a pretty old building where people said some weird stuff has happened, but I've never, like, other than the time I was sleeping, which, I mean, like I said, that could have just been sleep deprivation or something. Like, and I did one time feel somebody pull on something, like, fully pull on my blanket, like, almost off of me, and I got up and I looked and there was nothing there, so that was weird. But
And the blanket was moved?
it felt like it, yeah, like something pulled it down, like...
My husband and I, our first apartment, this is like so random, but we had paprika, and we specifically remember putting it away into a certain cabinet. We moved out, never, ever, ever found it. And it's very random, but like I know I put it there. Like, how could it have lost? Okay, so
And who steals
very,
paprika?
very quickly.
Okay.
To run through this for you guys.
Yes.
So John from Friday Night Games, he's one of like my very close friends through the internet. And he's the one that sent us some very spooky stories.
Okay.
And I'm gonna read them super quick. I'm just gonna read 2 because they are like, he sent me a lot and they are really scary. But I think I can do it fast.
Okay.
So this is one of them. This happened about 17 years ago. My nephew had just turned 1 and we were putting him to bed. He started freaking out, uncontrollable, screaming, flailing his arms and legs. He was staring at the ceiling, so focused on something. It took me, my sister, and her husband to hold him down. All of a sudden, there was a feeling like something was pushing down on top of us. You can picture like someone had a board and was pushing that on top of you. The room got super cold and void of noise, it seemed. My sister's husband started praying, and all of a sudden was like a vacuum sucked whatever it was out of the room, and my nephew fell right to sleep. That's very scary.
That was weird.
That's a weird one. Okay.
The thing about that and saying like that it's like a mental thing, all of them experience that, which is very scary. So here's another one. My niece was about 5, and I'm assuming this is the same niece and nephew. But he says, my niece was about 5 and she was trying to go to sleep and called my sister up to her room, saying she couldn't fall asleep. When my sister asked why, she said, because the man over there is smoking and I can't breathe, and I think he's dead because he's all bloody.
Oh God. Yep. Just going with the full, like, it's the details that make it even more terrifying.
That's when I'd be like, "What? We're moving."
For real. It's things like that where, especially when I hear accounts of children that have seen things that can fact check to something they would never have knowledge about, that how could that be anything else than them seeing a remnant of some sort of memory or something? It's crazy.
I feel like, I don't know, kids have weird shit. I know I probably gave my parents a lot of trouble when I was a kid because I used to have night terrors really bad. Where I would like wake up in different parts of the house and not know how I got there, and I would scream in my sleep so bad it would make my parents wake up and run to my room thinking like something happened, like an accident, but I wouldn't remember any of it. Like I used to wake up like in my parents' room with my mom holding me, told me to calm down, and wake up and be like, I don't know what's going on with that. Like kids go through some weird shit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as we are getting towards the end here, let's do like a fast segment of board game suggestions that fit under this spooky, creepy category for people.
That we haven't already said.
Okay.
That we have said, or, I mean, it could be 3 of them. I mean, I haven't really played any, so I'm just going to do ones I've heard of. Meg, kick us off with one.
So I think one I hadn't played by the time we talked last time, but horrified, Horrified is very fun. It's not that scary, but honestly, the monsters are kind of tough. That like it's kind of scary. That Horrified was great. And I really like co-op for scary a lot. And I think one that we haven't talked about is Zombicide. That's another one that's also like very spooky, and you can feel really overwhelmed. I think a lot of those zombie games, because even like zombies, you can get overwhelmed very, very quickly. That games like that really stress me out when I feel like I'm gonna get eaten. So definitely Zombicide is great, that I haven't talked about enough, besides, you know, because I know I've talked about a lot of the other goodies a lot.
You stole mine. I was going to say Horrified.
Yep, that was one of mine. I was like, I know that one.
Well, it's also really cool, too, if you look it up, somebody rethemed it and did Terrified, and they had, like, It, and they had Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger and Chucky, and that one is, I would pay so much money for that game.
It looks really good.
But Horrified is really good. I'm trying to think, and I mean, I'd say check out Nemesis. I haven't played the new Alien game, but I'm a huge Alien nerd, and Nemesis at least is worth looking into.
And it's just like that's what those movies are, and it you kind of feel that in the game.
Yeah, and it's really cool. It's divisive though, and not enough people liked it for me to keep it, so I got rid of it. But
one I know of is Obscurio. I haven't played it yet.
Oh yeah,
but
it's kind of like Mysterium.
Yeah.
I really
Check it
wanna
out.
play
I
Mysterium
don't
Park
know
now
a whole lot
that
about
Keegan's talked
it. What's that?
I really want to play Mysterium Park now that Keegan's talked about it.
It's good. It's
we
fun.
looked for it the last time we were at the store, and like I don't know how often I don't know how old it is.
It just came out last year.
Yeah, it's.
So maybe that's part of it then, because we've only seen Mysterium, but I've had it on the brain since we talked last time, because I was like, this one I want to check out.
It's totally worth checking out.
Yeah.
I love it.
Keegan?
Are you just doing one?
No, we'll go do a couple, but just
Okay.
wrap it
This
up.
one's not really too scary, but theme-wise it is Mountains of Madness. It's all Lovecraft theme, but it's more of a party game. But I think it's a lot of fun. It's really thematic. It's super silly, but it fits enough with the theme. One that I didn't back on Kickstarter that I kind of wish I did because it looks great is Final Girl, where you play as the final girl in a horror movie.
Okay.
More power to the Final Girl, because we need more Final Girl characters in movies because they're fucking awesome. And there's a lot of different expansions for it, and it looks really, really cool. And then the one I'm most excited about that I did back on Kickstarter, and this is somewhat a stretch, is Lawyer Up, which I've talked to Ryan and Max about, where you're playing as a prosecutor and a defendant in a courtroom, and it's a 2-player only card game, but there's a Salem witch trial expansion.
Oh,
and
I didn't know that.
That's super thematic for that. And I'm really excited for it.
Okay.
Free Tituba. I said Free Tituba. That's like the first girl that was accused of being a witch.
Oh, there we go. There's lore.
Did you guys know that Disney has kind of the theme? I didn't realize that. I was just like Googling some of it. It's called Shadowed Kingdom. It's under like the Disney title, but
Umbrella.
By Mondo Games. I think it's just a card
You know who's
game.
not a princess is Anna. I think Anna's still not technically a Disney princess, and it's kind of messed up.
Is she not?
It's bullshit. I don't think so.
Frozen.
Is this tangent time?
I mean, speaking of Disney and spooky, there's the new what's the villainous game that just came out? The new expansion that has the Horned King in it, and he's the spookiest Disney villain ever.
Oh, from the Black Cauldron.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I literally just watched that the other
Black
night.
Cauldron?
The Black Cauldron, because it was on Disney Plus, and I was like, I had not seen it. I was like, all right, watch
You
it.
guys will love this. I watched the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles last night to fall asleep to it. It's just still so good.
Wait, the
It's
movie,
so good.
like the movie, the live action movie.
Yeah, like
Yes,
the 90s one.
it's so good.
So good.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, they're
it's
great.
fantastic.
Is that the one with Casey Kasem in, or is that the second one?
I think he's in the first
Or
one.
Casey Jones?
Casey Jones, yeah, I think he's in that one. Him and April O'Neil, yeah, where they meet April O'Neil.
Is that Casey Kasem?
No, it's not Casey Kasem. I can remember his character name.
Casey Jones.
I was
Casey
like,
Jones.
I feel so old. Was that?
No. Casey Jones is in the first one, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's so cool. I loved him when I was a kid. It's like, I want to be Casey Jones when I grow up.
For me, it was the Shredder.
Oh, Shredder.
Well, so you got other games you can
I
suggest?
was gonna say the final one, and I was gonna talk to you guys about. I wanted to play before we got to do this, and I haven't. But like 2 days ago, I got Unmatched. Finally, I got my very first Unmatched. I got Beowulf versus Red Riding Hood because Bigfoot. It's Bigfoot versus. I got Bigfoot because I wanted that.
Bigfoot and Robin Hood.
Robin Hood.
Oh, Robin Hood. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's Bigfoot and Robin Hood because I was like, I want Bigfoot. But I haven't gotten to play it yet. But I know you guys really like it, so I'm excited.
Yes, Unmatched is fantastic, and they have you should check out there's a Cobble and Fog. So it has
you like that one.
That's the one that I posted about. It's with the Invisible Man, Dracula, Jekyll and Hyde, and Sherlock Holmes.
Perfect.
Yeah, Unmatched is such a great series.
You could have talked about that during this.
That's true. I could have.
Oh yeah, that totally would have fit.
That qualifies.
What's the I was gonna name the game. It's kind of like the Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's in the look it up. It's in the
I don't know what to look up.
It's in the Cthulhu world, and I can't I can't think of the name of it.
Death Maker.
There's Eldritchmore, but that's not what we're talking about.
No, just look up.
Elder Signs?
No, it's like the Sherlock Holmes games.
So like, I'm just like, what would be able to describe? Like, how do I look it up?
Mythos Tales? Is that what it is? Mythos Tales, I think it's called. I think it's
Cthulhu
called
Mythos.
Let's see if I can Google harder than Ryan.
Mythos Tales, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah, it's I guess it has
7.4.
probably type board game. I guess
is a
I
book?
guess it has quite a bit of errata when you get it, like that there's some stuff you kind of gotta fix, but
hate
it's
that.
supposed to be really fun, just like the Sherlock Holmes games. I've had it for about 2 years, and I've not played it, but I've been wanting to play it really bad, and since I've been in quarantine, I've just need to go do it and just go through them. Because I love
This
those
art
sort of
looks
stories.
really cool. There's someone like screaming in a straitjacket, and that's very my vibe. It looks good. It looks good.
Yeah. So I don't know it. I can't recommend it necessarily because I haven't played it. But
there's also a Pandemic of a Cthulhu theme.
Yeah.
I just
I haven't played it, but I know of it.
Yeah.
just Cthulhu themed everything.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. We did do a like.
Cthulhu's gonna catch you.
All right. Well, Meg, this has been such a pleasure again. It's so much fun. I know we'd a little less board gamey than our other ones, but it's still a lot of fun. I love it.
Bless you guys.
Is there anything coming up you want to tell people about?
Kind of, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't pre-prepare, but me and the Board Vendors, we did a video back in January, and we did a new video that should be coming out soon-ish.
Okay.
I don't know exactly when, but that'll be coming out on my YouTube, which sounds so crazy to say because I usually don't like promote myself at all. Yeah, I have basically, if you want to find me, YouTube and Instagram, those are the best places. Probably Instagram, but YouTube should be ramping up a little bit more often lately.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Good.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Fantastic. And that's at Professor Oak, Professor Meg.
It's Professor Meg.
Professor Meg. And what's the YouTube channel called?
So YouTube, it gives you like a weird backslash, so you can't really look people up. But if you search Professor Meg, like that's my name
okay.
on there.
Okay.
So you should just be able to find me under Professor Meg.
Okay. Cool.
And if you go to the link in my Instagram, it's right there.
Okay. Great.
And thank you to everybody who sent Meg stories. We
Yeah.
appreciate them. They're fun to hear.
Yep. Thank you, everyone.
I believe you all.
I do too, my spooky friends.
I want to break them all
Stage your
down.
houses.
I logically want to break them all down and talk through what could possibly
Sage.
happen.
You know,
But sage.
here's a little bit of logic, but also sage.
But also,
That's the both, just in case.
yes. Well, we'll be doing this Magical Unicorn Quest. We'll be reviewing this. The friendly guys at Flamepoint Games reached out to us, and so we got a demo copy that we will be doing a video on soon. And their Kickstarter will be starting, I believe, in April, they said. So wait for that. That'll
looks
be
very
soon.
cute.
Yeah. Just a card game. I don't know too much yet. I haven't gone through the rule books yet. I don't think
Anyway,
it's
we'll be playing it and
cooperative.
reviewing it.
Yeah, that's right.
tuned.
Let me just stay right here real quick while I read the rules. Just stay, just don't talk, and let me. Well, great. Yeah, so this has been another week of Speculative Board Games perSPECtive. I'm Ryan Lieris.
I'm Max Simmons.
And Keegan Cole.
I don't say my own name, only Ryan does.
That's right. You shut up. I introduce you. And our fantastic guest, Meg. We'll just say Oak, but Meg Oak. Until next week, everyone. See ya.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.